We're gathered here today on this very sad occasion to pay our last respects to Janet Friedman, a caring and compassionate young woman that so many of us knew and loved so dearly.
Yeah, they said the fire spread so quick, she didn't even have a chance.
The tragic circumstances of her untimely death only serve to deepen the heartache that all of us are feeling at this very moment.
This didn't have to happen.
Sandy, listen, I just wanted to let you know how very sorry I am. I know how close you and Janet were.
I guess I just still can't believe it.
I know. Unfortunately, there's no second chance.
Well, have you heard anything yet? I mean, about the fire and all?
No, I get the report tomorrow. Regardless, I've gone ahead and scheduled a training session at the Fire Training Center, so we can make sure nothing like this happens again.
Work-related fires have taken the lives of literally hundreds of people and injured countless others. But fires in the workplace are tragedies that don't have to happen. In this program, you'll learn the elements and classes of fires and how to prevent and extinguish fire. Lastly, we'll explain what should be included in your organization's Emergency Action Plan, or EAP, and what to do if you're involved in a fire.
So, Alex, have you gotten a copy of the report yet?
Yes, I have, and they said it was caused by an extension cord.
An extension cord?
David, it's not an uncommon cause of fires. In fact, electrical equipment is the #1 cause of fire in the workplace.
But how can an extension cord?
Well, in this case, it was worn in several areas and simply overheated. But that was only the initial cause of the fire. There were several other factors that caused the fire to spread.
What do you mean?
Well, the condition of her work area was conducive for the fire to spread.
Fire needs 4 elements to exist: fuel, oxygen, heat, and the chemical chain reaction that happens when all 4 elements come together under the right conditions. Fire can be thought of as a 4-sided tetrahedron where each side represents a different element of fire. Fuel, the first element, is any combustible material and can be either a solid, liquid, or gas. Solid and liquid fuels must first convert to vapor before they can actually burn. Oxygen is the second element needed for fire to occur. While 21% of the air we breathe is made up of oxygen, fire requires that only 16% of the atmosphere contain oxygen. The third essential element of fire is heat. Heat provides the necessary energy to change combustible materials to vapor in order for them to burn. When fuel, oxygen, and heat come together in the right amounts and under the right conditions, a chemical chain reaction occurs and fire results. The chemical chain reaction is the 4th element.
Now, take away one of these components and no fire. Now, once the electricity was shut off, the fire was treated as a Class A fire.
Class what?
Well, there are 4 different classes of fire based on the objects being burned. Fire can be classified as either A, B, C, or D.
If the fire is made up of ordinary combustibles, such as wood, paper, cloth, rubber, or certain kinds of plastic, it is classified as a Class A fire. Class B fires, on the other hand, are those that involve the burning of flammable gases and flammable or combustible liquids, such as gasoline, kerosene, paint thinners, and propane. Fires involving the burning of energized electrical equipment, such as appliances, switches, and power tools, are classified as Class C fires. Finally, if the fire involves the burning of certain combustible metals, such as magnesium, titanium, potassium, or sodium, it is a Class D fire.
The training session will help you understand why all of this is important. And so I've asked Inspector Rollins, who led last week's investigation of the fire, to come in and talk with us about how we can prevent things like this from happening again. Tamara?
Thank you, Alex. First of all, let me start by saying that on behalf of my department, how sorry we all are about Janet's death. I am sure that every one of you doesn't want this type of thing to happen again. That's why we're here today. The first thing you need to learn is that fire prevention is the key to avoiding this type of tragedy.
Class A fires can often be avoided through simple routine housekeeping, such as making sure storage and working areas are free of trash and unnecessary clutter. Oily rags and other similar types of debris should be placed in covered metal containers, which are located well away from any spark or flame-producing source. These containers should be emptied daily. Keep in mind, careless smoking is a major cause of fires. Only smoke in designated areas and ask coworkers to do the same. Class B fires can be prevented by taking special precautions when working with or around flammable liquids or gases. Obviously, flammable liquids should only be used in well-ventilated areas and should be kept away from any spark-producing source. For example, you should avoid refueling gasoline-powered equipment in a confined space or in an area where vapors would come in contact with an open flame, such as near a furnace or gas water heater. Flammable liquid should be stored in tightly sealed, self-closing and spill-proof containers, and portable storage cans should be limited to a maximum of 5 gallons each. No more than 25 gallons of flammable liquid should be stored in a receptacle inside of a building unless the flammable liquid is secured in an approved storage container. Outside storage of flammable liquids should be located at least 20 feet away from the building.
Yes?
We were told last week's fire started because of an electrical problem?
Yes. The number one cause of fire in the workplace involves the use or misuse of electrical equipment, and that's a Class C fire.
Electrical equipment should be checked regularly for old or worn wiring or for broken or damaged fittings. If any of these conditions exist, report them immediately to your supervisor. Extension cords should not exceed 6 feet and should never run under carpeting or rugs. Electric motors should be kept clean and in good working condition. Dirty or poorly maintained motors can overheat, causing the dust and oil inside of them to ignite. Never install a higher rated fuse than is specified for a circuit. Also, avoid overloading wall sockets by limiting the number of devices connected to each outlet. Coffee pots are a major source of workplace fires. Only use industrial coffee makers that are designed for high demand. An outlet should have no more than 2 plugs. No more than 1 heat-producing appliance should be plugged into an outlet. If you notice a strange or unfamiliar smell coming from a piece of electrical equipment, investigate it immediately. An unusual odor can often be an early warning that a fire is going to occur. Be sure to take the piece of equipment out of service. Finally, make sure that all utility lights have some type of wire guard over them to keep the bulb from coming into direct contact with combustible material. When handling combustible metals such as magnesium, potassium, titanium, and sodium, follow the material handling guidelines set forth by your company or division. Failing to do so could be disastrous.
We've come out here to demonstrate how to use a fire extinguisher properly. Now know which type of fire extinguisher to use with each different class of fire. Now while fire extinguishers are no substitute to automated sprinkler systems, they can save both lives and property by extinguishing small fires before they get out of hand.
Each fire extinguisher displays a rating on the faceplate showing the class of fire for which it is designed. Some are marked with multiple ratings, such as AB, BC, or ABC, which means that the extinguisher can put out more than one class of fire. Class A and Class B extinguishers also carry a rating that indicates how large a fire an experienced person can put out with that extinguisher. Class C extinguishers have only a letter rating, which signifies that the extinguishing agent inside will not conduct electricity. Class C extinguishers must also have an A or B rating. Finally, Class D extinguishers carry only a letter rating and an indication of their effectiveness on certain amounts of specific metals.
Fire extinguishers work by removing one or more of the 4 essential components of fire: heat, oxygen, fuel, and the chemical reaction that happens when fire occurs.
Class A fires can be extinguished by simply cooling the temperature of the burning material below its ignition point. Pressurized water, foam, or multi-purpose dry chemical extinguishers are effective on Class A fires. Fires involving flammable liquids or gases, or Class B fires, can be extinguished with foam, carbon dioxide, ordinary dry chemical, multi-purpose dry chemical, halon, or halon replacements. Although halon extinguishers are effective in extinguishing certain types of fires, halon has been shown to be harmful to the environment and is no longer being produced. However, you may still have halon extinguishers in your facility, or you may already have a suitable replacement. Do not use water extinguishers or any extinguishing agent capable of conducting electricity on Class C fires. Class C fires should be extinguished with either carbon dioxide, ordinary dry chemical, multi-purpose dry chemical, or halon devices. You should be aware that multi-purpose chemical extinguishers leave a residue that can be harmful to computers and other sensitive electrical equipment. Carbon dioxide or halon extinguishers, which leave very little residue, may be preferable in and near situations where computers and other sensitive electrical equipment are located. Class D fires react violently to water and other types of chemicals. Therefore, extinguish Class D fires with dry powder agents or extinguishers specifically designed for the material involved. In most cases, the extinguishing agent in these devices will absorb the heat and cool the material below its ignition temperature.
It's important to know where the fire extinguisher is located in your work area.
Know how to use one properly, too. The way to do this is to use the pass method. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. First, pull the pin. Then, aim the extinguisher at the base of the fire, not the top of the fire, but at the base of the fire. Next, squeeze the trigger firmly while holding the extinguisher upright. And finally, sweep the extinguisher from side to side while covering the area with the extinguishing agent. Okay, anyone want to give it a try?
Sure, I would.
Okay, David, come on up.
Okay. Pull, aim, squeeze. And that was sweeping.
Very good, David.
Very good. All right, only use the fire extinguisher when it's safe to do so.
If the fire is too big, is spreading, or is threatening to block your path of escape, you should leave the area immediately. You might need to use the extinguisher to clear an escape path.
Now, if a fire occurs, there should be no question about what to do. Now, regardless of the size of the fire, it's always a safe procedure to call the fire department as soon as possible. Now, like most companies, we have what's called an emergency action plan. Now, this plan includes detailed written instructions on how to evacuate the building and designates specific individuals to be in charge of different aspects of the evacuation. Now, please always remember to assist anyone who may be visiting in the building as well.
Both primary and secondary escape routes should be outlined in detail for every working area. These directions should be clearly marked and easy to understand. Maps with simple instructions may be posted for your review in various locations. Emergency action leaders from each area should be assigned specific duties, such as verifying that all employees have evacuated an area safely. Disabled workers or those needing special assistance, including those with a history of certain medical conditions, should each be assigned an emergency action leader to help them if necessary during the evacuation process. Proceed calmly but quickly during an evacuation. Never use an elevator during a fire drill or actual emergency. A sudden loss of electrical power could leave you trapped inside. Because stairways are the primary route of escape in multiple-story buildings, keep these areas free of storage or any other materials that could prevent or hinder an emergency evacuation. Finally, take appropriate action during all fire drills.
Attention in the plan, attention in the plan.
Drills are an important part of the preparation process. They're used to identify potential problems before an actual fire occurs. Treat each alarm as if it were the real thing.
So when the alarm goes off and you're the last one to leave the room, should you close the door, to try and contain the fire?
Yes, close the door behind you, but just don't lock it. Locking the door can hinder firefighters' search and rescue efforts.
What if there's a fire on the floor below you? Should you ever go up the stairs to escape?
No, not unless the fire has actually infiltrated the stairwell itself and it's dangerous to go down.
Once you're inside the stairwell, proceed down to the first floor and exit the building. Never go up unless that is the only remaining alternative to escape the fire. If you're in a building that is actually on fire, keep as low to the ground as possible to avoid smoke and toxic gases. If you can, cover your nose and mouth with a damp cloth to help you breathe. Know and follow the procedures outlined in your company's emergency action plan. Once you're safely outside the building, report immediately to a predetermined area so that others will know you're not trapped inside. If you're trapped inside of a burning building, don't panic. Your ability to stay calm and think clearly could save your life. If you're trying to escape a fire, never open a closed door without feeling the door first with the back of your hand. If the door is hot, do not open it. The fire may be on the other side, and the door could be the only thing shielding you from its effects. Instead, try another exit. If there isn't one available, try to seal the cracks around the door and vents with anything you have available. Look to see if a telephone is available and call 911 or your local fire department, stating your exact location. If breathing is difficult, remain close to the floor and try to ventilate the room by opening a window or, if necessary, even breaking a window. In the unlikely event that you or your clothes should actually catch on fire, stop, drop, and roll. Do not run. If you run, you'll actually be feeding the fire more oxygen, making the fire burn hotter and faster.
Well, what if a person's on fire? Would it be better to use an extinguisher?
No, if someone's on fire, there won't be enough time for that. The best thing to do is to try and smother the flames by grabbing a blanket or a rug and wrapping it around the person. Tell you what, why don't we take a 5-minute break now?
Janet should have known this. She should have learned this.
Yeah, well, Alex said that she was absent on like 2 of the training sessions that they had here.
No, she thought this training stuff was unimportant. So did I. But it's not.
No, it's not.
Come on, guys. Let's go back and finish up the meeting.
The information that we've learned today can literally save your life and the lives of your coworkers.
You've learned the elements of a fire: fuel, oxygen, heat, and the chemical chain reaction, the classes of fire, and how to prevent fire from happening. You've also learned how to extinguish a fire, what's included in your employer's emergency action plan, and how to react if you're involved in a fire. Keep in mind, fire is a killer. There's no second chance.